Done a bit of research on you.
Have
So
you?
you've got two kids.
Yeah, I've got two kids. I've got an 8-year-old Amelia who is she might see this one day, so I've got to be careful what I say. Yeah. She's pretty full on, and I've got a 12-year-old or nearly 12-year-old boy, Harry, who is look, they're both the apple of my eye. I love them both dearly, but they're very, very different when it comes to nature. Harry's incredibly bright like his mother. His mother's a lawyer writer, and he's at a selective school, Sydney Grammar, and it's just very soft, very left. Wants to take on the world and sort of and improve it in every possible way. So he's very much like his mother. His mother's a criminal lawyer with the Aboriginal Legal Service, and is very much into that justice side of things. And Harry's like that. Amelia, on the other hand, she's got the best of both worlds. We think she's very bright, very conscientious, but she's also an absolute thug. So she's got a little bit of me in her, and she's got a little bit of a mother in her.
What do you reckon you were like as a kid? In terms of your kids,
mate, I was different. There's no question. I come from a very different upbringing to what they're in. I lived on a farm for half my life. I lived in Blacktown, which is a suburb in Sydney. That's I think it's probably got better actually, but back then it was pretty rough when I was there. I went to a pretty poor school. I think I had a pretty poor education. I blame both of us, the school and myself. I left when I was 15. We had a mutual agreement. I didn't like them and they didn't like me. So we thought it was best that I'd leave and I started cooking. So, the world has changed now though too, from when I was growing up to now what the kids are growing up. I can never recall my father ever coming to a sporting fixture. I go to a good 3 or 4 every weekend for my kids. It has changed. The expectations of being a father is so much more now than what it used to be too. I think back in those days, your father worked, and your mother sort of looked after the house and cooked, and a little bit old-fashioned, I suppose. Mine wasn't totally that, and my father, did get meals for us and cook for us and whatever else, but he didn't spend the time that I spend with my son. It's quite funny, only recently, my little boy, I've got a farm that I own with my father, and I spend a lot of time down there, and Harry loves it, and he absolutely idolises his grandfather, and his grandfather idolises him. They are so close, the affection is just unbelievable. And my dad, who's a very proud but very old-fashioned, never really sort of will come out and tell you that he loves you and he's proud of you, and he has to certain extents lately, but never when I was sort of growing up. It was just that thing I think that was done. But he said to me recently about Harry going to the farm and how much he loves Harry going to the farm, and he said something to me only recently that just sort of really made me think. He said, I want to spend the time with Harry that I never spent with you. And it was like, you're so right. You're so true. I never really hung out with my father. It's just one of those things. It's where Harry and I, the older he gets, the more we become mates. And a 12-year-old boy, he's nearly 12. A 12-year-old boy, you can't treat like a kid. It's Harry feels as though he's an adult and wants to be treated like an adult. Gone are the days of getting your belt off and flogging a kid. It's all about mate. I only have to say, geez, I'm disappointed in you. And that kills him. That kills him. It's like an apprentice in the kitchen. I don't need to yell and scream at a kid in the kitchen anymore. I can just say, geez, mate, that's not good enough. I'm really disappointed in you. Disappointed in me. It's like it's the worst thing you could say to them. They get it.
Yeah, it's interesting.